Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. If XRP hits $10, what percentage of your XRP would you be willing to sell at that particular price point? Well, there's a poll on social media platform X that got thousands and thousands of responses, actually, and it's pretty interesting. And people's responses might surprise you a little bit. But there's that, and then I want to share with you a post from chart analyst Credible Crypto, because he talks about pumpamentals. I like that word. Instead of fundamentals, pumpamentals. So why is he coining this term? Well, because there's been a lot of talk about what tokenomics actually means when it comes to any general cryptocurrency rocketing through the stratosphere, in particular in times of greed, extreme greed, and euphoria. Because that's what we ultimately want, right? We're here for life-changing wealth. That's why we're in crypto. There's real opportunity here, unlike anywhere else on the planet. But to what degree do tokenomics actually have an impact? And Credible Crypto, he's just operating based on logic, facts, and reason. It's just data, folks. And he just freaking nails it. And so I want to highlight some of what he had to say there. And then there's also this article, and this is something I was actually talking about just a couple days ago, and now there's a new article from the Daily Hodl covering just this and expanding upon it. But because, look, I've been making the case that, look, I don't pretend to know what's going to happen. There are analysts that say the market, hey, it's pretty much, Bitcoin's pretty much at its top. It's not going to be hitting new all-time highs this cycle. Most analysts think that it will be hitting new all-time highs. But still, I don't pretend to know who's right, because there are reputable analysts that make compelling cases on both sides here. But I've been noting that there are all sorts of non-chart things that you can look at, various metrics, that would lead one to believe that this is very different. This time is different. If it's the case that Bitcoin is really topping out here, then this time is different. Because normally there are a bunch of other metrics that you'd see play out differently. For instance, retail isn't here. And so here you have this headline. This is just one more thing to consider. Smaller retail investors begin to reappear to crypto as markets stage comeback report. But you'll see, and I'll dive into the specifics of it, it's in line with what I was saying a couple days ago. Tiny uptick. If this is the euphoria, the height of euphoria, where is everyone? Like, seriously, where the hell is everyone? But before going further, though, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. I shared this a couple times recently. I'm going to do it again because it has to do with the first thing I'm going to cover in this video here. But this is from Franz Vanderhorst, and he's highlighting XRP's increase in supply over the last 6 years here. And here, I'll make the chart full screen. And I know some of you have already seen this by now, but if you haven't, it's highly relevant to what I'm first going to discuss here, so I wanted to share it again, and I'll just be quick with it. But he wrote here, XRP circulating supply has been growing by about 6% per year on average for the last 6 years. Chainlink, 34% increase in 3 years. Solana, 51% increase in 3 years. XRP, 36% increase, but that's not in 3 years. That's after 6 years, only 36% increase. And again, on average, year over year, about 6%. That is not crazy. There have been years where Bitcoin's inflation rate, if you want to call it that, has been higher than what we've seen with XRP. You don't see people bitching about the miners. Oh my God, the miners are dumping on the market. Shut your damn mouth. Like, nobody... That doesn't make any sense. You don't even hear that anyway. But people will say this crap about Ripple. And so Credible Crypto, he put out this video, and you should watch it if you have a moment if you're on X. It's close to 19 minutes long. But he delves into this topic, and I think he just knocks it out of the park. And so he said, a new video to discuss token inflation, circulating supply increases, and its effects on a token's pumpamentals. Something to be concerned about are overblown FUD, which is why my voice goes up like this with this inflection. Let's take a look. I use HBAR as an example, but this concept is universal, so I recommend watching even if you're not an HBAR holder. And so that's fascinating. Now, I know a lot of you actually are HBAR holders, because if you're an XRP holder, you are probably interested in real-world problems being solved. You're probably interested in actual utility. So it's not surprising that you'd then also perhaps be interested in HBAR, which also solves real-world problems and has utility. But this is not going to be an HBAR video. But I just to mention a couple of things here, because this is highly relevant, even if you don't hold HBAR, highly relevant to XRP specifically. So take a look at this real quick. HBAR, it's currently 10.8 cents. It has been on a run lately. I've been holding it just over 3 years at this point anyway. And I've been down on this investment for most of the time I've held it. Just like when I was holding XRP for the first 3 years, because we had just gotten out of that, the crazy euphoria of 2017 and early 2018. So for the next 3 years, I was down on XRP for much of that time. And so I started buying XRP as we were starting to go into some of the true mania blow-off top stuff 3 years ago, right? And so it shouldn't be surprising for you to hear me say I've been also down on HBAR for most of the time. Now I'm in terms of dollars, I'm up a lot. I didn't calculate the percent, but I am up. I am very cleanly up, and HBAR is currently my number 3 holding right now. But look at this. It got up to, within the last 24 hours, up to 11.7 cents. And over the last 7 days, it's up 32.76%. Well, looking at that, what are we supposed to conclude? If you listen to some people in the XRP community, that must mean that there's no, the tokenomics are perfect. Nobody could possibly bitch about them. There's no increase whatsoever, or else how would number go up? Except for that's not the thing. In fact, attorney Bill Morgan watched that video that I just cited from Credible Crypto, and he mentioned the following. And listen up, and so this is, again, even if you don't hold HBAR, be aware of this. Check this out. And this should, in fact, that's the reason I want to highlight this. If you're worried about the tokenomics of XRP, I think that's silly, personally. But I think this kind of makes the point that it's overblown. That's why, you'll see, this is why I keep saying people focus so much on the supply side of things and not focusing enough on the demand side. If you think the crypto pie is going to get bigger, then even if the entire supply of XRP were to magically double or triple, okay. And obviously it can't triple, but you get what I'm saying, right? If a crazy number of humans jump in, and it's certainly the case right now that way less than 1% of humans on the planet have ever held XRP. Well, if way more humans in the future hold it, does a 2x increase in supply, does that matter more than like a 10 or 20, 30, 40, 50-fold increase in demand? You get the concept, right? And so here's what Bill Morgan had to say, because there are coins that are running that have way worse tokenomics. I'm telling you, the tokenomics, and if you want to call increase in circulating supply of XRP, is not a problem. So Bill Morgan wrote, great explanation. People in the XRP community carrying on about Ripple dumping should listen to this and draw some lessons. HBAR supply increasing from 15 billion to 33 billion in 2 years, but the HBAR price higher than 2 years ago. This is because the circulating supply is being absorbed by smart money. Is it not broadly the same for XRP? Doesn't this just lengthen the period of consolidation and end with a more aggressive price increase when the consolidation ends? Now, that is a man who gets it. Spot on. That's exactly the point. That is exactly the point. XRP has had a ton of money flow into it already. It's been around for over a decade. And it frequently moves sideways or down for long periods of time. So you may feel like there's something wrong. I don't think it makes sense to believe there's something wrong. There are too many historical precedents showing us that when XRP moves sideways for a long period of time, but then the rest of the market heats up, eventually XRP just goes. You don't know for sure which day it's going to be, but it just goes, and it melts faces. And so, no, the tokenomics absolutely are not a problem. So let's talk about something a little more fun. When are you going to sell your XRP? What price point are you going to sell your XRP? Well, that leads us to this poll from analyst eGreg Crypto. Hashtag XRP Army. If XRP reaches $10 in the next few months, what would your strategy be? And so there's 4 responses that you can choose from. Unfortunately, with X, they limit it to 4. So it doesn't mean that you would be doing exactly this, but typically the way people vote is what would be closest to what they'd actually do, right? And so the first of 4 options is if XRP hits $10, You could sell 30 and keep 70%. So sell 30% of your XRP at that price point, and then keep 70%, with the assumption being that you'd hope to sell it the other 70% at a higher price. The second option is sell 50% and keep 50%. The third option is sell 70% and then keep 30% to sell at a higher price, presumably anyway, or at $10, sell 100%. And you can see how I responded if you're looking at the screen right here, because I was one of the respondents for this poll. I thought it was a fun poll. I like stuff like this. It's interesting. And I wrote that I'd sell 100%, because that's as close to my real answer as possible. I'll expand upon it in a second, but for most people, that's not the case. So here's what was interesting to me. The people that would sell 100% at that price point, it's 26.4% of respondents, and there are 6,400 votes, which is a pretty good sample size, honestly. So I was actually kind of, if I had to guess that 100, like what percentage of XRP holders would sell 100% of the price level, I actually probably would have guessed it would have been maybe a little bit lower, but that seems reasonable. So that, you don't know for sure if that's representative of all XRP holders the world over, but I wouldn't be surprised, I guess, if it's that close. I would have guessed maybe it would have been a little bit lower, because most people don't have enough XRP, and so they are waiting for higher prices to exit. Whereas if you massively accumulated, perhaps irresponsibly, then maybe you're going to feel inclined to exit sooner than later, because you want to take the risk off the table, and then you bought so much XRP it just makes sense to do that. And that's basically what I did. I maybe got a little bit irresponsible and bought a metric F-word ton of XRP. And so I was like, yeah, but the reason I did it, though, it was with a purpose. It's so that if I'm right about this thing, then when it gets into new all-time high and then price discovery, I can sell sooner and still have the life-changing wealth that I'm seeking. And I can get that by achieve that by selling at a much lower price point than what I would have been able to otherwise. Because I used to have a lot less XRP than I do now, and when I had less XRP, I would not have been willing to sell at the price points that I am now willing to sell at, because I had less XRP. So it just depends on what your targets are, how much XRP you have. There are some moving parts to this thing, but that's why this is an interesting little poll here. And so for the first response, which was, again, sell 30% of the XRP at $10, but then keep the other 70%, that's that's the biggest individual response at 44.2%. That's a lot of people. That isn't surprising. That's definitely not surprising at all. And then the second option, sell 50% of your XRP, keep 50% of your XRP at the $10 price level. That would be 14.1% of the respondents in this poll. And then sell 70%, keep 30%, that's 15.3% of people. Now, realistically for me, because like I said, people when they vote on this stuff, they're just clicking on the thing that's closest to what they'd actually do. For me, I'd start scaling out, I'm guessing probably around $5 XRP, and then hopefully completely out by $8. I don't know. In theory, I could sell a little bit before that, but what's it going to be, like 5% of my total holdings? Nothing crazy at those lower price levels. But I would be scaling out, just like I dollar cost averaged in. I would be scaling out. And we're not going to have that much time in all likelihood. So yeah, you have a lot of time to dollar cost average in. But man, when these markets pop, they don't stay popped for long. When XRP goes, yeah, it's fun. But, when I jumped in 2017, that rally at the end of 2017, the face melting one, yes, that one, it went on for like 2.5 weeks. So it's a shorter time period. And then you could sell on the hump on the way down if you wanted. But still, I'm just saying that wasn't very long here. So, look, $10 XRP, I don't think that's like a crazy price point or anything. Like, to me, it seems, reasonably conservative. I don't see why it couldn't hit that if XRP is going to have true staying power. I'm just saying, for my personal preferences, yes, I'll be out before that. And then I'm sure I'd be willing to buy back in once the market tanks, which seems like a virtual certainty at that point. It's not just going to go up forever. But just to be clear, that has nothing to do with my confidence in the long-term viability of XRP. That happens to do with, exclusively with my personal financial position, because getting up at those price levels, it would be such an outsized portion of my overall net worth. I'm not willing to risk it. I need to diversify. Period. That really is what it is. But I mean, if you ask me, could XRP be $50 or $100 or whatever? Pick your big pie in the sky number. If it's something like that, I don't know if it's going to happen, but that doesn't sound crazy to me. At some unknown point in the future, there's certainly enough money on the planet to make that happen. And as far as where we are right now, just to be clear, I don't believe for a moment we're in euphoria. I think that there's a lot of excitement. But look at this from the Daily Huddle. Smaller retail investors begin to reappear to crypto as markets stage comeback. And I wanted to highlight this because I was literally talking about this exact topic, I think 2 days ago in a video. And it's just one more thing to look at because there are a lot of things that just don't match up with a euphoria blow-off top. So, I mean, if you think that we're just not going to have euphoria in a blow-off top, okay. But some analysts are saying, no, this is euphoria. And I just like, well, this is like no euphoria we saw in the past. It just looks like kind of excitement. We've only had like 4 days of extreme greed on the Crypto Fear and Greed Index since the market bottomed in November of 2022. We've had 4 days of it. And this is a mania, euphoria, sentiment, and blow-off top? No, it's just excitement. That's what I think, anyway. Anyway, piece reads as follows. Smaller crypto investors are reportedly beginning to return to retail trading apps like Robinhood and Coinbase as Bitcoin has rallied 25% in the last month. According to a new Bloomberg report, small mom-and-pop investors are creeping back into the crypto markets, though they're nowhere near the same level of involvement as the last bull market. Both Robinhood and Coinbase released positive earnings reports last week. Specifically, Coinbase announced a surge in revenue and users and had its first profitable quarter in 2 years, sending its share price vertical. And they shared this post. It's on your screen right now. And so you can see there's a small uptick, but this is what I was highlighting a couple days ago. It just makes you wonder what's going to make retail come back and FOMO in. And, sometimes it just takes all-time highs. Maybe that's what it is. If Bitcoin is going to hit a new all-time high, I bet that would do it. I'd be willing to bet that would do it. Because can you imagine the degree to which media is going to be talking about crypto and Bitcoin and so on and so forth? If we get back to those levels, that would drive it, I'm willing to bet here. But we haven't been seeing much of that right now. And so we've been seeing also a decline. I've been mentioning this recently too. We've been seeing a decline in the number of new Bitcoin accounts being created as Bitcoin price is going up. That hints that institutional money has been causing the price of Bitcoin to go up rather than the retail side. It's just interesting here. Anyway, piece continues. Kyle Doan, a trader at Arca, told Bloomberg, quote, there are signs that the retail audience is starting to get back into the market, but not nearly to the extent of the last bull market yet. Even crypto stocks like Coin, so that's Coinbase, and miners are exhibiting more volatility than many tokens, end quote. So think about the mania that we saw 3 years ago when Bitcoin was in the 50,000s. That was insane. You had your diamond hands, you had your laser eyes, you had celebrities pumping S-word coins and propping up Bitcoin also, and you name it. And the news from Tesla, this and that, and you know what happened. That is not what's happening right now. So the price is what it is, and that's actually pretty cool though. Which is why, again, unless stocks really are going to stall out here, and they're not going to keep moving to the upside, I just don't see how we top out here. Now, again, since stocks and crypto, these asset classes, they move in tandem. If you have a black swan event, or if stocks really aren't going to keep moving the upside, okay, then this one was a little bit different. We had some excitement. Bitcoin didn't quite hit a new all-time high. Some coins took off, some altcoins took off. Okay. All I'm saying is, outside of that happening, I don't see how it's reasonable to suppose that that this would be the top. And again, outside of technical analysis, because a lot of the TA guys, as awesome and reputable as they are, some of them, they're only factoring in what the charts are showing them, technical analysis. And I just think, I get it, it can be powerful just looking at charts. Got it, totally got it. But why would you not look at the totality of data available? Because it's not just that. That's all I'm saying. So if it's the top, it's the top, and the people that say that absolutely could be right. They absolutely could. But I sure as hell hope not. And if it is, this time is different. Think about that. Those are famous last words here, right? Anyway, piece continues. According to Owen Lau, an analyst at Oppenheimer & Co., quote, we are only at 16% of the last peak retail volume. With the money returning from the bankrupt entities, there is a lot of room to run potentially, end quote. Think about that. 16% of the last peak retail value. And we're over $50,000 Bitcoin. Doesn't that mean, isn't that interesting at least, like at a minimum? I sure as hell think so. So I'm glad the Daily Hodl's covering it too. Anyway, just another thing to consider. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Lambo.